Alright folks, here it is. This is our subcast, entitled Casting Dread, the Penny Dreadful Show. The third episode of the second season is entitled The Nightcomers. It was written by John Logan and directed by Brian Kirk. Lots of things struck me about this episode. Specifically, we're going darker and darker with Evelyn Poole. She is more than a proper antagonist. She's a sadist, persuasive, ruthless, cunning, and focused. And the episode also addresses why she has as much sway as she would in London high society. The show shows where Vanessa gets her magic, her tarot cards, and her knowledge. Also tells us the origin of the Scorpion, which is one of the mysteries that have been presented to us since day one. This is a flashback episode. Where Vanessa goes is she's searching for answers. She's searching for ways to find Mina, and she meets the Cutwife. The Cutwife is a daywalker, a witch who chose not to follow Evelyn's lead and become a Nightcomer. It's a great touch. It shows Vanessa's origins with the arcane, as well as providing a deeper tie between Vanessa and Evelyn Poole. I love that it's set in the forest. It provides beautiful color palettes of green, orange, and brown, where in earlier parts of the season, the color tones are white, blue, and bronze. So this is an extremely nice change. Have you ever noticed that all media claims to have a message? They claim to say something. Well, this show says this. Sherlock talks about insanity and crime, and Breaking Bad talks about the evils of going too high, just like it did with Scarface. But Penny Dreadful is saying a lot. Stop and listen to these words and think about them. Why people in this world hate what is not them. Why fear what they don't know, themselves most of all. These are deep philosophical questions, and that's why the episode is so good. It slows down the pace. It talks about humanity, prejudice, the binding and disjoining of mankind, and it's absolutely profound. Perhaps the most profound hour in the history of television. For those of you who still dispute Dracula and the devil, when Vanessa searches for Mina on her first time with the tarot cards, she pulls out the devil card. The devil is holding a bat. There's an even deeper tie to Dracula in this episode and on the series as a whole. The focus is on humanity, just like Penny Dreadful. Bram Stoker's tale is a story about hope, friendship, love despite the darkness. Dr. Seward is fighting his own demons because Lucy refused him, and he's trying to run an asylum. Holmwood, he's essentially a widower. Quincy Morris, he's a stable person, but he's in the friend zone. He's a tragic figure. So who's who in Penny Dreadful? It has been suggested by many that Penny Dreadful is, in essence, a different version of Bram Stoker's story. Well, the obvious representations of both Renfield and Van Helsing are gone, dead. It's very obvious that Victor Frankenstein is Dr. Seward, dealing with his own demons, involved in a romantic relationships, trying to find his way into the world, yet scientifically curious all the time. Lucy Westerner was the thread of Bram Stoker's novel, and tying all the characters together was Mina. Mina is now gone. Quincy Morris is also there, represented by Ethan Chandler. Could this be a little bit of a spoiler? Ethan the Protector. Quincy died in Bram Stoker's Dracula at the end while fighting the Johnny in Transylvania. Could it be that Ethan will get a similar fate? Vanessa is both Jonathan Harker and Wilhelmina Harker. She deals with madness, fighting against pollution. She's a strong and kind person. Just as Vanessa was branded with the cross, Mina was branded with the holy sacred wafer in Bram Stoker's story. There are also interesting references. This is the first time where Logan went out of his way to reference Sherlock Holmes, specifically the Hound of the Baskervilles. It takes place on the moor ponies drowning, and ancient secrets. There's a lot in the subtext of this episode. It also talks a lot about killing. Killing in the name of God, but it's truly inspired by Lucifer. So what does that say about Logan's thought process to the outside world? Whereas Bram Stoker was extremely hopeful in his representation, Quincy Morris and Lucy Westenra were the only two primary characters that died. This one, people are getting killed right and left, and people are killing in the name of God. So it's got me thinking about Dracula himself. There's only one character who is constantly in the promotional materials. He's an outsider, he's tragic, he's disconnected from everyone else, he's beautiful like Lucifer, and it's Dorian Gray. It seems like he's going to be set up with Dracula in some way. I hope that he won't be Dracula or a vessel to such because it seems cheap, and honestly I don't think Reeve Carney can pull that off as much as I like the performance. I also think Dorian Gray is a very wasted character. There's not a lot of point to him here. 50-50. Is Dorian Gray Dracula? Is he somehow tied in with it? If so, we touched on this a while back. If Dorian Gray is Dracula, that was a true waste. Vanessa was in his bed. Why didn't he take her then and there? But yet Dorian Gray is still around. The episode itself was wonderful. And I don't know how Penny Dreadful does it, but they continue to top themselves. Every episode, every single frame has meaning. The narrative is strong, the performances are even stronger. It's sad, it's tragic, it's human, it's violent, foul, and moreover, it's beautiful. All this chaos is beautiful. It talks about people and why people fail, and how they can continue in the endurance of failure, just like Bram Stoker's novel. If these statements aren't enough to make you watch the show, I have no idea what's wrong with you. None whatsoever. So watch the show. It's on Sundays, 10 p.m. on Showtime. Take advantage of this narrative. We're presumably in the golden age of television. Take advantage of its apex. It's right here on Showtime.